fight in Vegas over the weekend. And while he was there, this picture went viral. That's Brady shaking hands with Raiders owner Mark Davis.
Oh.
You can't listen. You've been on the Chargers bandwagon, but perhaps
I have, but maybe I've had the wrong AFC West team. Because when Gruden got to Oakland, the only way to read him stripping that whole team down was, at the time I said he must have gotten there, saw Derek Carr, and said, oh, we're not going to be able to compete for championships right now with this quarterback, so let's get picks, let's rebuild. Now, Carr had a very good year this year until the very end, but that would be interesting. Now, they're not having trouble selling any seats there the way the Chargers are, so you don't have that added boost. Yeah, I mean, Brady hanging out in Vegas.
It would be an added boost.
Yeah. What?
I can't see Brady hanging out in Vegas. Like, I can't see that being the place that he wants to have his family for the next 2 or 3 years.
Black jacket.
You think the black jacket? That's,
yeah, look.
You like black jacket?
Oh, well, again, totally off on this.
You know what they're probably talking about?
That's why.
You know what they're probably talking about? Baker Mayfield's hat. Like, they're probably saying, what a clown look that was.
That was also, Baker, how about Baker, the one guy not mentioned?
I know, totally
How about that?
Yes.
And our friend Colin Cowherd with an all-time great tweet, tweeting a long list of great athletes and performers at the McGregor fight and Baker Mayfield. I mean, just shots fired, Baker. Yeah, that's great. Hey, listen. Brady could certainly give Mark Davis some fashion tips.
Yeah.
Maybe some hair tips.
Just tips.
Just tips.
Just tips.
Just
In general.
Yeah. All right, Coach, you've been with us from day one of this incredible season. 20 weeks, 256 regular season games, 10 playoff games, and here we are with Super Bowl 54 officially set. Chiefs and Niners. I have to ask, did you think you'd get to a point where you'd look Nick right into his beautiful eyes and say, you were right, my friend. You were right all along?
Okay, well, here's the one thing.
Ask him the real question. Ask him the real, don't make him answer.
Okay.
I will answer it. I think if you pick something over and over and over.
You
Eventually you'll be right.
Nick Vision worded it into existence.
I'm not letting you tear me down
At
today.
some point,
I'm wearing my Kansas City Monarchs socks. I feel great today. I'm not going to let you steal any of
He's
my...
also predicted that Tom Brady would retire for
Not
what?
retire.
This is like your 17th in a row.
No, just that he wasn't good anymore.
Anyway.
I broke
At
that
some
story 3
point.
years ago. I was his first a little
We
early.
are down to the last two teams standing, the 49ers and the Chiefs. Who is the better team heading to the Super Bowl?
Okay, so collectively, I like the 49ers better. And I think that they tend to make less mistakes. It seems to me that there's less self-inflicted wounds. I love the chemistry that they've built. I think they have a underdog mentality. You've heard it throughout the course of the season. And maybe it's not underdog, but they don't like the fact that nobody's really appreciated what they've done, even late in the season when they had the success. They had already had the success that they had. Now, all that being said, I'm going to go with the better quarterback. I'm going with Patrick Mahomes, and I think at the end of the day, he is going to be able to carry it.
But if you were doing a tail of the tape, just to follow up, the vast majority in your mind of check marks would be on the Niners side of things.
It would be, but the biggest check mark for me
Even offensively?
Well, the biggest check mark for me is the mistakes. Like, I really struggle with these 2 playoff games where you're spotting teams that many points, where we have that many errors, and I think at some point your luck runs out. Now, offensively, I really like what Kansas City can do, obviously, and I really like the quarterback. It's the mistakes that concern me more than anything.
All right, I got a take for you. I'm curious to see what you think of this. I think the Chiefs are about to go on a Golden State Warrior-like run. I think they're very similar to the Golden State Warriors. They've got a young superstar, the way Steph Curry was burst on the scene, the way Patrick Mahomes is. They're an incredibly amazing offensive team, but they're better defensively than you think.
Yep.
Like, I don't think people give the Chiefs enough credit. They didn't through a majority of the Warriors run.
Sure.
You've got miscues. Like, they're a team that the Warriors, well, they're having so much fun and they're embarrassing people. They're like, you know, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine. I think they're about to go on a similar type of run. I think they could see multiple championships with this group as long as it stays intact, with Tyreek Hill, with Travis Kelce, with Patrick Mahomes, with Andy Reid as that experience that comes in there, and the offensive mind combined with these weapons. It's got dynasty written on it.
Listen, I would agree with you entirely if the NFL playoffs were like the NBA playoffs, where it's set up to where the better team almost always wins, because it's not a one-game sample. Because it's one-game sample, doing what the Patriots did over 20 years, it's why it seems so impossible. It's why it's more impressive than what the Spurs did over the same time frame. Even though it's 6 championships to 5, there's the Spurs had a similar winning percentage. Like, well, yeah, because luck comes into play less in football, or less in basketball than in football. Now, to this specific game, I don't know who the right pick is. I know who my heart tells me to pick, obviously. I know who I'll be rooting for. But if I do tail of the tape...
Are you going to tell us?
Right. If I do tail of the tape...
So curious.
The Niners have...
That's a tease.
I got jokes. The Niners are, to me, better in every area except for quarterback and wide receivers. Tight end's a push. You know what I mean? You have the 2 best tight ends in football. The Chiefs have a good offensive line. Niners have a great offensive line. The Niners have the best defensive front in the league. They have an all-pro at corner, even if their secondary, I think for the Chiefs' strength of their defense might be their secondary. I still think the Niners might be better. And coaching, it's real close. I think Andy's excellent. I think Kyle Shanahan is as good of an offensive mind as Andy Reid is, and you take into account, okay, so Andy's so great coming off a bye, but he's also not great in whether bye or not at the, in the final moments of halves and games, and does that even ratchet up when it's the tied for the biggest game he's ever coached, and maybe even bigger than his previous Super Bowl, because that was 18 years ago, 15 years ago, and Shanahan is so great all throughout. I know he had obviously the 28-3 moment in the Super Bowl as the coordinator. I feel like he's learned from that. The Niners are clearly the most dangerous team on that side of the bracket. I was rooting for the Packers yesterday, not only because I wanted to see Rodgers and Mahomes, but also because I thought the Chiefs had a decided edge over the Packers. I don't think they have a decided edge over the Niners. And what you and I were talking about off the air, Coach, and you alluded to, was you asked me, like, is it frustrating watching the self-inflicted wounds? And I said, listen, I've been watching this Chiefs team, forever, but the last few years, you just got to bake that into it. They're going to have a bad offsides. They're going to have a defensive holding on a 3rd and 17.
You say that, but last year it's what cost them the Super Bowl.
No.
It cost them the chance to go to the Super Bowl. And this year, are we going to be talking next year where you say, oh, remember, you got to bake that in when they lost the Super Bowl because of that mistake?
No.
How long are we going to keep baking these in?
I'm not saying it's justification. I'm just saying the way that I equip myself to watch the games, like I know I'm surprised when it doesn't happen. The concern is, if you get down double digits to this team, it's so different. Like 10 points down to the Titans felt scarier than 24 down to Houston. And 7 down to San Francisco will feel scarier than 10 down to the Titans, because of they have just shown you the best way for them to lose is Jimmy Garoppolo making mistakes, and they can win a conference championship game with anyone playing quarterback. Because with respect to Jimmy, anyone could have done what he was asked to do yesterday. Anyone that's in the league, all 95 quarterbacks, and they'd have been in the exact same position.
We're going to have 2 weeks to talk about this matchup, right? But I do think it's going to be that the age-old conversation and the debate is, well, what wins championships? Would you want to have great offense, which the Chiefs have, or do you want great defense, which the 49ers have? Best in the NFL, I would say, on both sides of the ball. Which one would you rather have? I do think the game has changed to where it used to be defense every time. You'd want to take the defense. I think the rules benefit offense. I think the quarterback play is magnified in today's game, and that clearly favors the Chiefs.
I respect what Kyle Shanahan did so much yesterday.
Yeah.
In the sense that he did not avoid, or he did not come off the running game and only threw the ball 8 times. That, to me, takes amazing discipline. And I know those runs were hitting, but you still have that inherent natural need to want to throw the ball, especially if you're an offensive-minded guy. I was impressed that he did that.
Just real quick, I committed to you, with you having no risk whatsoever, that if the Titans beat the Chiefs, I'd get a Derrick Henry tattoo. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes is the Super Bowl MVP, both things happen. You'll get a Patrick Mahomes tattoo, at least a 15 somewhere?
No, I wouldn't get a Patrick Mahomes tattoo if they won the next 15 Super Bowls.
What if he was his son?
That's no fun. Come on.
Wow.
There's no check. No.
Come on, think about how much credibility you'd get with your 3 boys.
Oh, my God. Well,
I'm not sure that's the word.
Sure
he gets some from his 3
that's
boys.
what they're looking for, is me.
Oh,